So let's have a conversation about branding and advertising. There is a huge shift right now in the marketing landscape, which is pushing a lot of people from direct response, the classic stuff that a lot of businesses look for when they run an ad. They want to be absolutely as sure of an outcome that happens that they can look at the newspaper ad and say, okay, we spent $1,000, we got 10 calls and we converted 5 patients. Those days are getting harder and harder to come by. There is now definitely a movement in the landscape of this mix now, if you like, this cocktail mix of running enough ads to promote a brand and the equivalent to acquire a customer, off the bat. So ultimately what you could say is advertising is the price that you'll pay for not having a brand. And yet the paradox is that brands are built because of advertising. So for a new business owner getting started, we do have to spend quite heavily in that first year or two on advertising to create the brand. And then once the brand's created, it's just a matter of maintaining that brand and getting very clear on who your customer is and putting more and more of your brand in front of those people. So it's a very interesting time that we're in now with marketing, and it's something as a lot of business owners still hang primarily and largely to the old notion of run an ad, get a response, get your money back. I think those business owners are going to be in a world of hurt from now and most certainly moving forward, because there is so much more that goes into creating a marketing campaign and a plan for a business that isn't as easy as put $1,000 up and get your money back. It is officially gone. Those days are dead. And the more of the smart business owners that I spend time with, the businesses that are killing it in any economy, a large proportion of their marketing budget is actually all around creating a brand, putting out information, helping people make decisions, putting videos out, aligning themselves with the customer's journey, putting blog posts up, educating the why, demonstrating exercises, giving great statistics and helping people generally to understand that the journey that they go on, not asking for them to become a customer in the beginning. So that initial, if you like, how we built our businesses through direct response is certainly starting to move now. In fact, it's the other side, where branding is more important. And it's important to understand what branding is. It's not a logo, it's not a colour, it's not a picture, it's not a white font on your website or anything crappy like that. Branding is ultimately what your customers say and think about you. They don't obsess over your logo, they don't obsess over the colour of your website. They obsess over what they perceive that you do for them. And we will change their perception of what we do for them by putting out great content. This thing of branding now has really become a content game where your blog posts will influence somebody subconsciously that you're the right person to make a decision. Who cares if it takes them 3 weeks or 4 weeks for them to make that call to your office? I don't, because that's the journey that I know that people are going on these days, and I know that that's what it takes. In fact, more often than not, the leads that we get now, we get probably 60% of our leads coming in from non-direct response sources. But we're spending as much money and we're getting more leads because we're pushing more people to our blogs, more people to our videos, spending more time on social media, being more active on YouTube, and generally getting in front of our audience. Now, we're still following the principles of direct response marketing, which is pick your perfect pocket of people, create a very strong message that resonates with that perfect pocket of people, and give them content and information that is of meaning and of value to them that's going to help support the journey that they go on and speed up their decision making. So as you begin to market your practice, this is something that I firmly believe a lot of practices are going to literally hit a brick wall. It's a very painful time for a lot of business owners, because now that they've been given license to market and to get people into their practices with direct access, the game has changed, the landscape is changing, the landscape of marketing and advertising is genuinely changing. So a lot of people have read the Dan Kennedy stuff, the old-fashioned direct response marketing stuff, the infomercial stuff of, show them a product, show them a price, tell them there's only 10 seats left, etc. Those days are starting to go, and that's the irony, is that people are just now starting to use those tactics in the PT profession as those tactics actually die out. So the new way now is really supporting the customer's journey with content, with videos, most certainly with you on video, great blogs, customer success stories, case studies, demonstrations of how you can help people, and put in probably 50, 60, 70% of your ad budget towards that, knowing that people will make a decision on you if you've done your homework, if you've picked your pocket of people, if you've used Facebook's retargeting tool, if you've identified ladies in their 40s, 50s and 60s, if that's who you want to work with, and used Google and YouTube and Facebook and social media to make sure that your information gets in front of them. Is it a longer game? Absolutely. Is it a more profitable game? Yeah. it's not only more profitable because more people are going to say yes to you, it's more profitable because you'll essentially be in a league of one. Your competition won't do it. I know my competition will never ever do it as long as I live, which makes it very easy for me. I'm in a league of one back home in the northeast of England because nobody else is doing it. And for you, that's what I would urge you to start to think now of. Advertising is the price that you pay for not having a brand, and a brand is the outcome, the result, if you like, of the advertising that you do. So somewhere in the middle there's a paradox, and there's definitely a shift, and there's definitely something that you have to factor in when you put together not only your ad budget. You shouldn't just be thinking we're going to spend $2,000 a month on advertising. The next question is, what advertising? Is it going to be $1,000 towards great content to our audience, and then is it going to be $1,000 asking for commitment, asking for an ebook, asking for an opt-in, asking for them to take some action on the website? Whatever that is, you have to be very clear on how all of this advertising and branding stuff is going to affect you. Get clear on it, understand it, synthesize it, implement it, and over a period of time, your clinic will be way more successful than your competition. And ultimately, that's what all of this is about.